Hey friends, in today's video, I'm going to share my experience at the San Diego RocketCon from a couple of months ago that took place here at the Mar Fairgrounds in San Diego, California, which is where I live. And honestly, I'm pretty late to making this video, but I really wanted to get everything in here so you got the full experience. Now, there are a lot of different conventions out there. As you know, San Diego Comic-Con takes place here. But when there's an opportunity for a smaller one in my neck of the woods, something independent that doesn't have all the glitz of the larger cons and the gaming conventions, I like to make sure you know about it. So this video is not only a showcase of the experience of the show, but I'm going to also weave in some impromptu interviews I did with some of the vendors as well as some of the attendees. So let's get right to it. San Diego RocketCon is an annual convention in San Diego, California, dedicated to comics, toys, games, anime, and collectibles. Established by the owners of TC Rockets, a local comic book and collectible store, the event aims to rejuvenate the quality of collector shows by bringing together enthusiasts of various geeky hobbies, including trading cards, statues, comics, games, and cosplay. Now, San Diego RocketCon offers attendees the opportunity to meet voice actors, comic book creators, TV and movie actors, as well as attend panels very similar to the large conventions, but on a very much a smaller scale. So the most recent event marked its 5th annual show, which was held on March 15th and 16th here earlier this year at the Del Mar Fairgrounds. And by creating San Diego RocketCon, the team behind TC's Rockets has provided a platform for fans and collectors to celebrate their passions and connect with like-minded individuals right here in San Diego. And it's really a breath of fresh air compared to the larger convention that's, like San Diego Comic-Con. And honestly, you can't walk anywhere at San Diego Comic-Con, not even outside of the actual convention itself, without, rubbing shoulders with people. It's pretty crazy. And quite honestly, the smaller shows are what I'm attracted to. Now, there is something to be said about going to a show like San Diego RocketCon, obviously, but I think everybody should at least go to that convention at least once in their lifetime. But the reality is, it's a difficult show to make from a financial perspective. Travel if you're coming in from out of town, and one of the challenges, even for a San Diego resident, is even getting tickets. Now that said, obviously, I attended SD RocketCon as press, and I intend to do that in the future for all other comic conventions. But if I were going to try to buy tickets for the San Diego Comic-Con, it would be extremely difficult, as most of you probably know. So it was just really nice to see the lines at SD RocketCon while they were long and around the building. Folks had no issue getting tickets even on site if they hadn't pre-ordered them. And it was just a smooth show. I watched everyone coming into the show when the doors opened. It was really, like I said, a breath of fresh air compared to all the lines at the larger show at San Diego Comic-Con. Hey, dude, what's the hot seller right now?
Right now, Godzilla stuff's been the top selling. I've also been a lot of people looking at the ODB. People are really wanting the old Wu-Tang stuff.
All right.
So,
yeah. Let me ask you, why do you think the Godzilla stuff's moving so well? I've been hearing that lately.
I think Godzilla's a classic. He's been around for so long. He's the king of the monsters.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Have you seen the last few Godzilla films? What do you think of them?
Yeah, I saw -1, and I saw the other one with Kong fighting Kong, which I'm surprised.
-1 is fantastic, isn't it?
It was. -1.
I think it's kind of a sleeper. More people need to see that movie.
I think so. Yeah, I think a lot of people. It had a good story to it. It wasn't just Godzilla going out.
What's your name?
My name is Topher.
Topher, good to meet you, man. Cheers, buddy. Thank you. All right, Jay, bring in some more comics up in here. Hey, man, I'm John, that 80s dude. This is my videographer, Gabriel. So we were just talking to John over here. I just said that this is really nice to see you guys out here actually having comics and seeing people dig through comics. A lot of times, a lot of conventions I go to, you don't see comic books too much anymore, unfortunately. So I was asking John how long it takes to just prep for a show like this.
Well, after you've done it many, many times, it gets a lot faster. I don't change the price of my book all the time, just maybe the wall books. Interesting thing you say about few comic book dealers. 2 years ago at the Phoenix Fan Fusion, there was 5 of us.
Wow.
It's the largest show in Phoenix.
Wow.
And last year, because I did really, really good, I think everybody else figured it out, there was like 6 or 7. But you got everything out, and you see people selling clothing. You see people. I mean, LuLaRoe at one show I went to one time. Candles, different things. It's giving more of a multicultural thing. The actual collectible, it's good for us because people want to come here to buy comic books. They're going to buy comic books. They're going to buy toys. They're going to buy toys. They're not going to worry about that stuff.
Yeah. I love that you said that, Jay, because one thing, I feel like comics are making a comeback. I feel especially after the pandemic, the COVID, they really started to come back. I know a lot of books that I collected back in the 80s and 90s, they're sort of become popular again. Do you feel like that momentum is still there, and do you feel like it's just going to get better and better for comics?
Well, after the pandemic, prices were really high. Everybody wanted to buy stuff, and during the pandemic, I bought a bunch of stuff online. And the first couple of years was really, really good, and it's been kind of slowly dropping price-wise, except for the older stuff, the Silver Age and Bronze type stuff, which is really what I go after, but I have everything. I think it's like pretty leveled off right now, but I don't think it's going to drop anymore than it has. I've been doing good. The last few shows I've done pretty well.
Good. And I noticed that you do have slab books here, graded books, but I noticed that you have a lot more raw books here, which is wonderful to see. I know there's a lot of folks back and forth collectors, old-time collectors that feel like the raw books is what they kind of go after. Do you feel like you get kind of similar movement with the graded books versus raw, or do you think you move more raw books?
So a lot more raw books, just because of the price. And myself personally, I've only graded like 10% of the books I have. I don't grade books very much. It's just got to be something like an autograph or something like that I want. Even if it's in bad shape, I want to get it graded. I had a Bernie Wrightson autographs Swamp Thing.
Swamp Thing, yeah.
Since I was a child, I bought them as a kid, and it was a really.
Is Swamp Thing number 7?
Number 1.
Number 1. Okay, got it. Is number 7, or is it the one with Batman? Which one is that?
I can't tell. Probably 7, something like that. 7 or 8 or something.
Okay.
But anyway, the thing with the Swamp Thing is, like I said, it was a childhood copy. I was at a small show in Phoenix like 20-some years ago, and he was there, and I didn't think about the Marvel books. The only thing I knew I had Swamp Thing number 1. So I signed it. I carried that around for a while. I finally got slabbed for 3.0. And last Phoenix Fan Fusion last year, a guy found it, and he's like, and the price was right because it's cheaper, but it had his autograph on it. And that was the main thing.
Well, Bernie Wrightson's a legend, you know what I mean? And yeah, absolutely love. I cherish my Swamp Things, for sure. Well, great. Hey, listen, what's the name of your shop?
Jay's Junk.
Jay's Junk?
Yeah.
I just said Jay's Junk.
J-U-N-Q-E.
Okay, J-U-N-Q-E. Okay, good.
My last name is French. My last name is French, so it's the name. And that's what my wife calls myself.
Okay.
Your junk. Get your junk out of here.
That's great, man. Well, hey, listen, is there anything at the show here that you kind of are looking out for yourself?
Well, I just got this comics book guy a really good deal, and I just bought a bunch.
Oh, nice.
But he wants to trade. So
Okay.
That's even better. He wants to trade. So.
Yeah. I love it.
Here's
Thank you. Jay's Junk, you guys. Thank you so much, Jay, for your time. Really appreciate it. And check out that 80s dude on Instagram and YouTube. All right, thanks, man. Good to meet you. Thank you. Me too. I also want to add that there's something unmistakably electric about in-person conventions, right? For collectors, fans, and pop culture junkies, nothing beats the energy of walking the convention floor, digging through comic books, comic book boxes, spotting a rare action figure from across the aisle, or stumbling into a conversation about who really should have directed Batman Forever. And, that actually happened back in the 90s when I was at San Diego RocketCon, but that's for another video. And I realize online marketplaces might be convenient, but they're missing the smell of cardboard, the overheard debates, and the quiet thrill of a successful haggle. And I loved haggling with vendors. Here, I'm here with Ruben. I'm at his booth. What's your toy shop or?
Dampier.
Okay.
Toys and Collectibles.
Dampier Toys and Collectibles. So Ruben is a Gen X kid like me, and I found some interest at his booth because I just saw a little bit of Masters of the Universe figures that I wanted to add to my collection. So Ruben, tell me, how did the show go for you yesterday?
Actually, pretty well. This is the first time I actually do RocketCon, which is pretty exciting.
Okay.
Usually, whenever I do a show, it's either in Temecula or Los Angeles. So.
Okay. So tell me, what are some great movers here? I see a lot of vintage stuff, but I also see you have a few modern things here. Okay.
I got G.I. Joes, kind of like in the 90s era, and then I have vintage, of course, vintage Star Wars.
I'm John.
Don.
Don, good to meet you. This is Don. Hey, Don, I was just chatting with the Super 7 booth, and they were saying that I asked them what their best seller was, and they're saying all the Godzilla stuff is moving like hotcakes. And I noticed that you bought this. You were walking out of this other booth. Tell me, what is it? Is Godzilla happening right now? Is it coming back?
Well,
Was it never gone?
I don't think it was gone.
Okay.
I don't think I think a force like Godzilla never leaves.
I gotta agree with you on that, Don. That's a good statement for sure. Yeah.
But this is a gift for a friend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he's super into Godzilla. He couldn't be here today, so I got that for him.
All right. Are you a Godzilla fan?
I'm a Godzilla fan. Yes, I am.
Okay.
I like the old man in suit.
That's right.
Godzilla.
Yeah. I grew up watching the black and whites.
-1 was awesome.
I gotta agree with you. We were just saying that. I was talking to Topher at Super 7, and he's like, I said, that's kind of a sleeper. Like, it got a little bit of media, but it didn't get a ton. That's a great film.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And anybody who didn't see it should see it.
Godzilla -1, you guys. Coming from Don right over here.
Exactly. Unsolicited.
Hey, Don, are you Gen X?
No.
No?
I'm a boomer.
You're a boomer? All right, man.
That's 59.
All right, 1959. What's your favorite franchise from the past?
Ooh, yikes. Holy
I set him up.
Well,
What did you grow up watching?
Johnny Quest, the Herculoids,
Thundar,
yeah. Mighty Mightor. Space Ghost is actually my favorite.
Space Ghost is my favorite too.
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
We got a fist bump on that, buddy.
Yeah.
I've got Space Ghost #1 comic book. I had to get it graded and slabbed because I wasn't going to open that one up.
I just found all these old shows on Plex TV. This is an unsolicited advertisement.
Nobody's getting paid here.
Free streaming service, Plex TV. You can find all your Space Ghost Coast to Coast, Johnny Quest, Herculoids, The Impossible, Frankenstein. I got them all on there.
Let me tell you something. They don't make cartoons like they used to, right?
No, they do not.
They actually have a panel here called Saturday Morning Cartoons here at SD RocketCon. Have you heard about it?
No, I haven't heard that.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's on now, but it may be on now or later or whatever, but I was kind of excited to see that, but I've been so busy out here on the floor.
Right.
It's been crazy. Anyway, Don, thank you so much for making time for me, man.
Nice to meet you.
Appreciate you. Have a great rest of the show.
Hey, guys.
Don, guys. Thanks, man. Now, conventions, especially the smaller regional ones, give you the purest hit of collecting culture, in my opinion. Now, San Diego RocketCon stands out as a show that still gets the balance right, in my opinion. It brings together comic book vendors, real ones, okay? Not like your huge vendors, right? And not just like a token booth or two. I mean, we're talking a lot of different local vendors and some from, a few states over, which is really nice because you get a good mix of comic books. And also, like, if you're a trading card collector, and, that whole thing's growing with Pokemon cards and things like that, and toy dealers, especially vintage toys, they're all there. Now, whether you're chasing like vintage X-Men back issues, mint Kenner Star Wars figures, or like the latest Pokemon drop, the floor layout reflects the evolving cultural landscape without really abandoning the roots of a comic convention. And the blend is part of its charm. And frankly, I think it's part of its success. Now, you'll hear longtime attendees grumble that, comic book vendors are disappearing from conventions, and they're not wrong. But the bigger the show, the fewer long boxes you tend to see, all right? And there's a cost to that growth. Now, convention organizers are clearly trying to cater to like a wider crowd of audience and mixing comics, cards, toys, and celebrities under one roof. And for diehard fans, the smaller comic-centric shows still exist, and they deserve your support. But the hybrid con is like the new normal, and we've got to keep that in perspective. Now, the biggest thing to happen at San Diego RocketCon this year at the show was this special guest appearance of Kevin Eastman. Yes, the guy who co-created the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, the lines were really long to get his autograph, and I can tell you, since I attended his press, I really got to see Eastman, quite a bit, at work doing autographs, and he was a class act. One of the nicest dudes ever, and treated every fan like a friend. Now, there was a point when my wife brought my two youngest sons over, and they were just kind of walking the floor, and they waved at him, and it was just really cool because he waved back, and I just think he's the nicest guy. And that's one of the beautiful parts of going to a smaller show. You're going to get artists and creatives out there, and they're just easier to get to if you want to chat with them or get their autograph. And at this show in particular, there was also quite a bit of like an indie area as well, indie artists, indie retailers, which I really loved. All right, so at the end of the day, you guys, San Diego RocketCon's biggest magnet is toys. vintage, modern, and everything in between. There were so many toy vendors there, and they really dwarfed the comic book vendors. But I get it because vintage toys are really in right now. Actually, not just vintage toys, but modern toys. I mean, if you look at the stats, toy collecting, especially for adults, has just gone through the roof. It is back. It is strong. It's kind of like CD and vinyl sales, have come back. But toys have really surged, and I noticed that at the show, and there were a lot of local and state or two over um, vendors that were selling vintage toys, and there's some really cool toys I hadn't seen either before or for a very long time. And I was really fortunate because I got to pick up a few things, but also I got to pick up a Castle Grayskull that I otherwise probably would not have bought had I not got to the show. And I will add that it's a paradise for anyone who ever lost like a tiny He-Man sword in the backyard, or who still regrets selling off their Power Rangers Zords in the early 2000s, or their mom threw their toys away. And it has this nostalgic pull coupled with a solid vendor mix and I think that's what makes RocketCon, SD RocketCon special, you guys. And I think it's one of the funnest, most enjoyable, independent, conventions around here in San Diego. So if you ever get a chance to make it out to the SD RocketCon, I highly recommend it, you guys. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please remember to like, subscribe, all that stuff. Share this with someone who's a collector, and I'll catch you in the next video. Stay rad.